The United States Supreme Court on Saturday cleared 2008 Mumbai terror attack convict Tahawwur Hussain Rana's extradition to India. India has long sought the extradition of Rana, a Canadian national of Pakistani origin, as he is wanted in the 2008 Mumbai terrorist attacks case. This comes weeks after Rana approached the US Supreme Court against his extradition to India after losing the legal battle in lower courts. Rana, remember, had last reached out to the US Court of Appeals for the North Circuit in San Francisco after losing the legal battle in lower courts and several federal courts. This was Tahawwur Rana's last legal chance not to be extradited to India. Tahawwur Rana, remember, faces charges for his role in the 26/11 Mumbai attack and is also known to be associated with Pakistani-American Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist David Coleman Headley, one of the main conspirators of the terror incident that hit India's financial capital in 2008. And my colleague Anuj Raite joins us at the moment. Anuj, from what I can see, you're standing right outside the Taj there. Just give us a sense of what this means for the people who have been affected in that horrific tragedy that occurred in 2008.
Osama, we really need to understand the importance of Tahawwur Rana in this entire case. You know, when we talk about the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, and you can see behind me, there is the magnanimous Taj Mahal Hotel, which has become a symbol of Mumbai, more so post 26/11 because of the tragic attack, and has also become a symbol of unity. But when you talk about the attacks, it is just the 10 attackers, that is the 10 terrorists who were present here, 9 of whom were shot dead by the Mumbai police, along with, of course, the guards here in Mumbai city. But then the mastermind, of course, Kasab was hanged later. But then when you talk about the masterminds, there were three key names who had become very important and prominent in this case. Out of those three, 2 were in the custody of either the United States of America or India. But one person who was missing for all this time was Tahawwur Rana. Right? When you talk about someone like David Coleman Headley, when you talk about someone like Abu Jindal, both of them were in custody of the respective countries. But Tahawwur Rana, who used to be a doctor in Pakistan's army, is a 64-year-old Pakistani-born Canadian national. He moved to Canada in the year 1997, and then he started his own immigration company, after which he came in contact with David Headley, and after which, of course, they hatched this plan with the help of several associates beyond the border. Now, this is the place which is one of the several places where the attack took place. Of course, it was also the Jewish center here in Mumbai, which is not too far away from here. A cafe, a Leopold Cafe, and of course the CST, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus as well. But the Taj Mahal Hotel somehow symbolized the entire attack, and Tahawwur Rana himself visited this place in some sort of a recce before the terrorists were sent via Arabian Sea to the city. He stayed here with his wife, and then the unfortunate incidents unfolded. Now, when you talk about the extradition process, this entire process began in the year 2019 when India first asked for the extradition of Tahawwur Rana from the US to India. Then they demanded for a provisional arrest of the individual. Tahawwur Rana tried his luck in several federal and lower courts in the United States of America before his extradition was finalized to India. He did appeal against the extradition as well, on the grounds stating that whatever was against him, the United States courts had already tried him on those particular matters. However, in the last case where he appeared in the month of November through a writ of certiorari, the judge there made it very clear that there were several matters, especially 2 very important matters on which it is only the Indian side whose jurisdiction was stronger than what were the cases that were levied against him by the US side. That included a case of forgery, and that also included a case of providing false information for investing in a branch of the Reserve Bank of India. Now we are very close to getting Tahawwur Rana in India, and that will complete the cycle of trying and testing all the three co-conspirators and masterminds in the 26/11 attack are most probably on the Indian soil. Now, how long is it going to take for him to come to India? Well, that depends on a lot of factors. Firstly, it's just the legal battle that has ended at the moment, given the fact that the American court has denied his appeal. But then the logistical process might still take some time. The extradition, especially considering the U.S.-India extradition treaty signed in the year 1997, depends on the merit of the particular case. It can happen in weeks, but given the gravitas of this particular matter and the gravity of this particular case, it might also take a few months. We had Sanjay Raut, the senior Shiv Sena MP, speaking a while back, and he said that there have been several such extradition policies or treaties which have been initiated by India, but the fulfillment of the same becomes very important, considering that there are several other people who should have in all likeliness been brought to India, and the trial should have happened here, but that did not happen. All eyes will be not just on the Indian courts, but more importantly on the Indian administration, on how prompt action do they take to make sure that the extradition policies and formalities are completed and Tahawwur Rana is brought to India as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And, as far as breakthroughs are concerned in this particular case, Anuj, how will Rana's trial in India be conducted? From how are we looking at it, and what are the possible outcomes or sentences that he might face?
The most important factor here as far as Rana's trial is concerned is as we talked to the victims, and we also had victims talking to us via our channel, they talked about how it is the fulfillment of justice, the cycle of justice that will be possible for them if Tahawwur Rana comes to India. But more importantly, when you talk about it, from an administrative perspective, it will potentially give away many details on what exactly unfolded before and after the 26/11 attacks took place. We remember that when David Headley was, when he was presented in the Indian courts via virtual means, he did give away his side of the story, wherein that was the first time when Tahawwur Rana's name was put out, and that is when the process of getting him from wherever he was possible located at that point of time, that process began. But when we talk about what would be the possible steps, well, the judicial system will have to take its course. It will depend on the authorities here in India, whether it is fast-tracked, on what kind of basis will they demand for a fast-track of this particular case, although that seems to be more natural as of now. But the exact course of his judicial inquiry will become clear once the extradition itself is fulfilled. But that, as of now, will take some time, considering that there will be some formalities, logistical formalities, that will be needed to be taken into consideration. Secondly, it will be the merit of the case that will determine the measure of the punishment, right? We saw how it was 35 years of imprisonment that was given to David Headley in his particular case. Is Tahawwur Rana's involvement and his contribution in the attacks as huge and as detrimental as it was for David Headley? That will be decided by the court before determining the measure of punishment.
All right, Anuj Rai, thank you very much for getting us all the latest as far as this big story is concerned. Meanwhile, I'm currently joined by Hemant Oberoi, the former chef of Taj Hotel in Mumbai. So, welcome to NDTV. I just wanted to understand from you, how do you feel about Rana's extradition, especially given your personal experience during the 2008 Mumbai attacks?
I think it's a very welcome news today. At least the justice is prevailing somewhere, and he should be brought to India, and the justice should be done to the families who suffered during that attack, and all the Indians who suffered during that attack will never forgive them for anything.
Mr. Oberoi, you were there when this entire incident happened. You were working there in the hotel. For our viewers, can you describe the horror that you witnessed when these attacks happened?
I mean, we came to know at about 9:20 or 9:15 in the night that some terrorist attacks have taken place, and they have already entered the hotel. And our first step was to make sure that all our guests are secured. And we tried our level best to lock all the restaurants, all the possible corridors leading to the banquet rooms and everything. We tried to do that. Since they came from two sides, It was difficult for us to control the people who were there in the corridors. So they shot quite a few people at the entrance only. But after that, I think our team's the Taj spirit prevailed totally, and whether it was our security people, whether it was our food and beverage team or the front office team, we grouped together and made sure that all the guests are secured and taken to the safer places.
So, I also want to understand from you, how do you think Tahawwur Rana's extradition will impact the healing process for the survivors and the families of the victims of the 2008 attack?
I think to some extent it will, that at least justice is prevailing and the culprits have been caught. And there's some justice in this world, although it has taken now almost 17 years to happen, and it might take quite a few number of years more to do the things. But at least there is some justice happening, and I think the peace is the main thing for entire world today. It has to be a peaceful place to live.
So personally for you, I want to understand from you, how has your life and work changed since those 2008 Mumbai attacks?
I mean, you come to know that reality is this and anything can happen, and we should be prepared for all these attacks by some misguided people. And one should do, I think, only good deeds in life. Somewhere some good deeds were done by all the people, including Mr. Tata, who himself was there standing out when we came out, and he helped the people in the entire country, not only Mumbai, in the entire country he helped them to whatever assistance he could give to the families, to Mumbaikars, and to everybody. And our lives have changed, that we have come to understand that there is a people should not be spared.
So you witnessed those attacks. You were there when all of this was happening. All right, we'll try and reconnect with Mr. Hemant Oberoi there. The 26/11 victims and people who have witnessed the tragedy, the horror, speaking to us, speaking to NDTV, sharing their stories, and telling us what exactly does it mean, what implications, how has their life changed, and what implication does Rana's extradition hold for India's efforts to bring those involved in the 2008 Mumbai attacks to justice. How have the families coped up in the last 15, 17 long years? How has their lives changed, and how it has affected their lives and their relationship with their work, with the people that they used to work with who are no more, many families who lost their loved ones. Everyone sharing those stories with us on NDTV there. So big win for India and a big setback for Pakistan there at 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. Tahawwur Rana, he will be brought to India. His extradition will take place and he will be brought to India. In fact, Hemant Oberoi is there with us. Sir, I also want to understand from you on a personal level, would you ever be able to, would you ever be able to pardon those people? Would you ever be able to do that?
I don't think, anybody who suffered will be able to pardon them. Anybody. I mean, what had some poor children done? What had a street person done to them? I mean, if you have anything, fight with the country. Let's do it with the country to country. What have the normal worker in the hotel industry has done to you? He came on duty and he gives his life for the place and he's been shot. I mean, that's not a life. Our lives have to be safe. We have to live in a peaceful environment and peaceful world. And these kind of people shouldn't be pardoned who kill innocent people in their lives.
Mr. Oberoi, before we let you go, is there anything you would like to see happen during Rana's trial in India or his subsequent sentencing here in India?
I think justice should be done, and the message should be for all the terrorists that this thing will not be tolerated throughout the world.
All right, Heman Oberoi, thank you very much for speaking with NDTV and sharing your story with us, sir.